Welcome all to this Interfaith Prayer meeting that we have every week on Thursdays at 7 p.m. Sydney time. The purpose of this meeting is to foster the devotional character of the society that we live in and to bring an understanding among the friends, among the followers of different religions, the common foundation of all religion and the source being one God. Thereby, we try to remove the religious prejudice that is one of the challenges that humanity is facing to establish world peace and unity. This is episode number 168. As usual, we will have the honoring the indigenous people and the land. And then we have a music or chant. And then we have the holy writings. And then there will be a closing music. Then we will have the speaker. And today our speaker is Mr. Anil Salwal. He was a former associate professor at DAV College in Chandigarh in India. He's an eminent English language teacher, trainer, researcher, and peace activist. And he was also a former member of the National Spiritual Assembly of the Baha'is of India. I think the only Indian president who visited the Baha'i temple was Abdul Kalam. And he was a member and I think the secretary at that time. And now we'll go to the honoring the indigenous people and the land. So here we who live in Australia, we honor the indigenous people who have been the traditional owners of this land. In this regard, I found this particular quotation from the Universal House of Justice, the supreme administrative body of the Baha'i faith, relevant to their situation here in Australia and also to many people all over the world. And that passage says, there is widespread acknowledgement that the present day structures of society are ill prepared to address the needs of humanity in its current travail. Much that was widely assumed to be certain and unshakable is being questioned. And the resulting ferment is producing a longing for a unifying vision. The chorus of voices raised in support of oneness, equality, and justice shows how many share these aspirations for their societies. So the indigenous people have been living in this country, this continent, for more than 65,000 years. Like everywhere else, God has been guiding them, and they had their own spirituality, they had their own culture, laws and languages, and traditions and knowledge, systems, and the like. But all that changed, and at the moment they are deprived of all those treasures. So we acknowledge and pay respect to the past, present, and future traditional custodians and elders of this nation we call Australia, and the continuation of cultural, spiritual, and educational practices of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. We acknowledge Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander tribes were the first sovereign nation of the Australian continent. And their connection to the land is of a spiritual notion. The Gadigal of the Eora Nation are the traditional custodians of this place we now call Sydney. And Wangal people are the traditional owners of Burwood, where my wife Wasanda and I live. So we are going to the devotional part. Please mute your microphones unless you are going to read or speak.
O thou beloved of my heart and soul, I have no refuge save thee. I raise no voice at dawn save in thy commemoration and praise. O thou beloved of my heart and soul, I have no refuge save thee. I raise no voice at dawn save in thy commemoration and praise. Thy love encompasseth me, and thy grace is perfect. My hope is in thee. O God, give me a new life at every instant, and bestow upon me the breaths of the Holy Spirit at every moment. O God, give me a new life at every instant, and bestow upon me the breaths of the Holy Spirit at every moment, in order that I may remain steadfast in thy love, attain unto great felicity, in order that I may remain steadfast in thy love, attain unto great felicity, that I may perceive the light, perceive the manifest light, and be in the state of utmost tranquility. Oh, perceive the light, perceive the manifest light, and be in the state of utmost tranquility. tranquility and submissiveness. Verily thou art the giver, the forgiver, the compassionate. Verily thou art the giver, the forgiver, the compassionate. Verily thou art the giver, the forgiver, the compassionate. Verily thou art the giver, the forgiver, the compassionate.
O thou kind Lord, these lovely children are the handiwork of the fingers of thy might, and the wondrous signs of thy greatness. O God, protect these children, graciously assist them to be educated, and enable them to render service to the world of humanity. O God, these children are pearls. Force them to be nurtured within the shell of thy loving kindness. Thou art the bountiful, the all-loving. Baha'i Scriptures.
Let us live happily, hating none, though others hate. Let us live without hate among those who hate. Let us live happily, free from disease, among the diseased. Let us live diseaseless among the diseased. Let us live happily, ungrieving among others who grieve. Let us live without grief among those who grieve. Let us live happily without possessions. Let us feed on happiness like the shining gods. Victory breeds hate, the defeated will grieve. Who goes beyond victory and defeat is happy. No fire like passion, no sickness like hate, no grief like egos, and no joy like peace. No disease like greed, no sorrow like desire. He who knows this is fit for nirvana. No gift like health, no wealth like calm of mind. No faith like trust, no peace like nirvana. Buddhist scripture.
The people of God should make their utmost endeavor that perchance the fire of hatred and malice is moderate in the breast of contrast and peoples may, through the living waters of utterance and the exhortations of him who is the desire of the world, be quenched, and the trees of human existence may be adorned with wondrous and excellent fruit. He is in truth the admonisher, the compassionate, the all-bountiful, Baha'i Scriptures.
Draw near in friendship. Save us and help us. Show yourself gracious, O Lord. Be present, O Lord, wonderful, adorned. Shower on us treasure most precious. Hear our cry. Lend us your ear. Shield us from sin contagion. To you, radiant God, we bring this prayer. Shine on our friends in blessing. Hindu scripture.
Happy is the man that findeth wisdom, and the man that hath obtained understanding. For the merchandise of it is better than the merchandise of silver, and the gain thereof than fine gold. She is more precious than rubies, and all the things thou canst desire are not to be compared unto her. Length of days is in her right hand. In her left hand are riches and honor. Her ways are ways of pleasantness, and all her paths are peace. She is a tree of life to them that lay hold upon her, and happy is everyone that holdeth her fast. The Lord by wisdom founded the earth. By understanding he established the heavens. By his knowledge the depths were broken up, and the skies dropped down the dew. My son, let not them depart from thine eyes. Keep sound wisdom and discretion. So shall they be life unto thy soul, and grace to thy neck. Then shalt thou walk in thy way surely, securely, and thou shalt not dash thy foot. When thou liest down, thou shalt not be afraid. Yea, thou shalt lie down, and thy sleep shall be sweet. Jewish scripture.
You have heard that it hath been said, Thou shalt love God, thou shalt love thy neighbor, and hate thy enemy. But I say unto you, love your enemies, bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you, and pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you, that ye may be the children of your Father which is in the heaven. For he maketh his sun to rise on the evil and on the good, and sendeth rain on the just and on the unjust. For if we love them which love you, what reward have ye? Do not even the publicans the same? And if you salute your brother only, what do ye more than others? Do not even the publicans so? Be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father, which is in heaven, is perfect. Christian scripture.
In the
In the
name of
name of God, in the name of God, the compassionate, the merciful. There is no piety in turning your faces toward the east or the west, but he is pious who believeth in God and the last day, and the angel, and the scriptures, and the prophets, who for the love of God disburseth his wealth to his kindred, and to the orphans, and the needy, and the wayfarer, and those who ask, and for ransoming, who observeth prayer, and payeth the legal alms, and who is of those who are faithful to their engagements when they have engaged in them, and patient under ills and hardships, and in time of trouble. These are they who are just, and these are they who fear the Lord. Islamic scriptures.
The all-knowing physician hath his finger on the pulse of mankind. He perceiveth the disease and prescribeth in his unerring wisdom the remedy. Every age hath its own problem, and every soul its particular aspiration. The remedy the world needeth in its present-day afflictions can never be the same as that which a subsequent age may require. Be anxiously concerned with the needs of the age ye live in, and center your deliberations on its exigencies and requirements. We can well perceive how the whole human race is encompassed with incalculable afflictions. We see it languishing on its bed of sickness, sore tried and disillusioned. They that are intoxicated by self-conceit have interposed themselves between it and the divine and infallible physician. Witness how they have entangled all men, themselves included, in the mesh of their devices. They can neither discover the cause of the disease, nor have they any knowledge of the remedy. They have conceived the straight to be crooked, and have imagined their friend an enemy. Incline your ears to the sweet melody of this prisoner. Arise and lift up your voices, that haply they that are fast asleep may be awakened. Say, O ye who are dead, the hand of divine bounty proffereth unto you the water of life. Hasten and drink your fill. Whoso hath been reborn in this day shall never die. Whoso remaineth dead shall never live. He who is your Lord, the all-merciful, cherisheth in his heart the desire of beholding the entire human race as one soul and one body. Haste ye to win your share of God's good grace and mercy in this day that eclipseth all other created days. How great the felicity that awaiteth the man that forsaketh all he had in a desire to obtain the things of God. Such a man, we testify, is among God's blessed ones. Baha'i Scriptures.
Make them to grow as beauteous plants in the garden of heaven, and from the full and brimming clouds of thy bestowals, and out of the deep pools keep it at evergreen and lustrous, and keep it at evergreen and lustrous, ever fresh and shimmering and fair and fair and fair and fair.
I hope you all enjoyed the devotional part. Now we'll go to the next item, that is a talk by Mr. Anil Salwal, a former associate professor at DAV College in Chandigarh, India. He is an eminent English language teacher, trainer, researcher, and peace activist. He was also a former member of the National Spiritual Assembly of the Baha'is of India, and he was a Secretary General of that institution. In Baha'i, we have elected institutions at the local level. We call the local spiritual assembly, and in the national level, we have National Spiritual Assembly, and in the international level, we have the Universal House of Justice. And he is still serving in the local spiritual assembly, I think, as a chairperson of that in Chandigarh. And he's going to talk something very unusual topic, correlating message of Vedas and Gita with 30th of December 2021 message of the Universal House of Justice. So I'll invite him to explain what this letter is, and hope everyone will enjoy. Welcome.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Seba, for this. I mean, the positions in the Baha'i faith are not the positions of power or prestige. These are the positions of service. So we are required to serve at certain moments of our life in some particular way. And all Baha'is are serving in their own precious way everywhere in the world. So it's just the administrative service that some have the opportunity, but it's not the most precious or the most, prestigious, so to say. So I think with great humility, and also saying that although I have been member of the institutions, and I am, my views don't reflect the views of any institution. They are just my study and my thinking. So I hope if that is clear, then we can begin. You can see the title of the presentation here. It's correlating message of the Vedas and Gita with the 30th December 2021 message of the Universal House of Justice. So first of all, I wish to thank you for inviting me to this August gathering. It's really refreshing and most beautiful to be connected to the various scriptures and to imbibe the spiritual values that are there through the prayers that we have offered. And may God bless us all and guide us. Now, in every human being's life, there are these questions. Who are we? See, if we read the scriptures, and especially the Bhagavad Gita, which is the most holy scripture for Indians, for Hindus especially. Out of all the Hindu scriptures, Gita, I think, is the most well-known and the most precious. It summarizes, it gives an essence, like hidden words, all the teachings of the Vedas and Hinduism. And Lord Krishna says there, in the beginning itself, he tells Arjuna who he is. And he clarifies, he is not body. His reality is the soul. So this question, who are we, is only answered by the avatars, by the manifestations of God, by the prophets. Science is grappling. It is trying to find out who we are, but there is no clarity as such. But they are also, at the highest level, they have kind of realized that there is something else, and we are not only body, and they are trying to make research into that. But the scriptures tell us that the body and soul constitute a human being. So if we are essentially, our reality is soul, which is eternal, everlasting. So this journey in this world, which begins with the birth, over which we have no control, and which ends with our death, over which also we have no control. So Lord Krishna says you are visible for this period of time. When you are here on earth, through your body, you can be seen. And this is a very short time. It's 70, 80, 90, 100 years, maybe. Now, what do we do with our life? This precious life that has been given to us, it is in our own hands. And the scriptures guide us how to spend this time on earth, how to live our life. So that is the main focus of this talk. What should we do in this scientific age, in this IT age, when everything has changed in the last 200 years, especially in the last 25, 30 years? How should we live and what should we do? Now, one of the beautiful things about revelation, we are talking about the Vedas. Vedas means knowledge. The literal translation of the word Vedas is knowledge. And we know that the source of all knowledge and the end of all knowledge is the knowledge of God. So Vedas contain that knowledge, which is divine, which is perfect, which is the beginning and end of all knowledge. And so are the all other revelations. But you will realize that when Lord Krishna appeared, the Vedas were there. And in the war of Mahabharata, because Gita was revealed by Lord Krishna in a great war, which ended in the destruction of majority of people of that time. And people claimed to be following the Vedas, but their conduct was not according to that. They had forgotten the Vedas, the essence of Vedas. They were very materialistic. They were very corrupt. They were very power hungry. They were playing games. They were demeaning others. They were not even respecting women. And any efforts at peace were not accepted by the rulers of that time, who was Dhritarashtra, Duryodhan, even the great gurus, the holy ones, so-called, like Bhishma and Dronacharya, who were all the time a witness to what Lord Krishna was saying, educating, trying his best to tell them to establish peace. They did not agree. So then Lord Krishna tells Arjuna that these Vedas I had given Arjuna, and I am the knower and the giver of these Vedas. But these people are not following these Vedas. So he abrogated those teachings. He said, now that's all. These teachings don't hold good for this time. I am giving you the new gospel. I am giving you the teaching that is fit for this age and this time. And that is, some of these teachings we know, some of the teachings of the avatars, they are true forever. For example, truthfulness, honesty, charity, kindness. And some of the teachings are good only for that time. So social teachings are there. The spiritual teachings, they take the form of social teachings. When they are applied to the society of the time, the environment, the teachings change. And it is surprising to note that Lord Krishna is telling Arjuna, his most devoted follower, his lover, Arjuna, kill these people who are in front of you in war. And Arjuna says to Lord Krishna, he says, but they are my friends, they are my relatives. It is written in the Vedas to respect them. He said, even if you give me 3 kingdoms in the heaven, earth, and below earth, I will not do this. And then Lord Krishna gives him the education that these people are dead, spiritually dead. And then he tells him that you are all soul. Anyway, soul never can be destroyed. So don't worry about their physical death here. But we have to establish dharma. Dharma means rightful duty. He says, I have come to establish righteousness. For the sake of establishing righteousness, you have to do what I am telling you. And he tells him the greatest teaching of the Gita is Karam Yoga. Karam means deeds. So, it's not only about connecting with God, because the Gita is the song of God, and 18 chapters of Gita, there are 18 chapters. Gita is a small book. It's not a very big book. 18 chapters are known as yogas of different types. One of them is Karam Yoga. Yoga means essentially union with God. Yoga comes from the word yuj, and it means union with God. Now, what kind of union? You see, we will remain a human. We will remain an identity. Our soul will have an identity even after death. Right? So what kind of union with God? Do we merge in God? Do we lose our identity, or what happens? But Lord Krishna tells clearly to Arjuna that after this life, there is also life. There are many, worlds of God, divine worlds of God, where we would go. So he says, don't worry about this physical death. And he said, these people are an obstacle in establishing righteousness. Anyway, so that is done. Lord Krishna's, Lord Arjuna, because he loves the avatar of Lord Krishna, he does what he says. And again, the righteousness is established in the world, in the Gita. So the lesson here is the progressive revelation, which Baha'u'llah, again, when we read this quotation, when he talks about the remedy that is needed for this world, which Siva read, he says, you think I am a trickster, I am a magic. This is what actually Duryodhan told Lord Krishna. He says, you are Chalava, you are a trickster. You are showing me what will happen after the war, because Lord Krishna showed him the great destruction that would take place after the war when he went as a messenger of peace. And Duryodhana tells everyone, oh, he's a trickster, don't bother about him. And Baha'u'llah says in the same vein, he says, you have taken the right to be wrong. What I am telling you, you don't believe. And you are at the brink of a great destruction. And we are seeing that in front of our eyes with all these enlightened people, big political leaders, big social scientists, big scientists. What are we trying to do at the moment? Isn't what Baha'u'llah describes coming true in front of very eyes? Anyway, so when we talk about progressive revelation, the latest manifestation of God or avatar, as per the Baha'i belief, is Baha'u'llah. Baha'u'llah means the glory of God. Ishwariya Prakash in Hindi, the light like thousands shining suns is shining on the world in the form of Baha'u'llah's manifestation. He does summarize the past in the Baha'i scriptures. He does address the local actual situation. And this word of God has the potential to transform the individual and society. I want to focus on this in one sentence only, that most people take religion to be a means of personal salvation, especially in Hinduism and Buddhism. I'm not very much, I know about Christianity and Islam, but not to the extent, because I live in India, I know about Hindu faith. And people tell you, oh, why are you so bothered? Why are you telling about Baha'i? Why are you telling about the social reforms? And why are you an activist for peace? Of course, the Lord Krishna's teachings show us. He told how to have individual salvation. Lord Krishna taught us how to have individual salvation, but establishing righteousness in the whole world, and whatever has to be done for that. So you see, religion not only guides us for individual salvation, but it also guides us for social salvation. So Baha'u'llah has given a vision which includes world parliament, world weights and measures, world language, world script, world weights and measures, world tribunal. That's the vision. So let's not live in the past. With the coming of the new manifestation of God, we show respect to all the holy scriptures univocally, without any reservation. But we have to follow. Like Lord Krishna was there, Vedas were there. But he abrogated some laws, some he repeated, some he explained what was the true meaning of the Vedas. Similarly, Baha'u'llah has done. And he has given the teachings for the new world, the remedy which he is talking about. So, you know, this slide, I'm not going to read through it, but the highlighted part tells you that God created the world or the universe because of love. And the essence of all faiths is love. And the avatars come because God loves us. So he reveals to us what is right and what is wrong. And when the sages, the rishis of the Vedas, when human beings, you know, it's a very interesting thing. We think that avatars have started coming now, or with Vedas, or maybe some other holy books. No. As soon as human beings were created, they found divine guidance in their hearts. And this quotation tells us that when the love arose in the heart of the Creator, he created the universe, and love, and you see, it is in the Bible also. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was made flesh. And so what happened? The souls came into being, the human beings came into being, and also other creation. And in the heart of the sages, they found love of God. And they found the bond of union between being and non-being. So what is the meaning of this? That God is the great creator, and how to, you know, the question was for the sages, now how to love God? And we will see who is the creator. Can we know him? Can we realize him through love only? What does it mean to love God? What does it mean? So here in this slide, we see Brahm, that is the creator, cannot be defined because it is infinite. It is beyond thought and beyond imagination. It is nothing in the mind and nothing outside the mind, nothing past or present or future. Now, how do you, I told you, yoga is union with God. How do you unite with this, with the creator? What does it mean? Anyway, so the answer in the Vedas, the rishis, that the sages, the answer that they gave in the Vedas was, love of God means loving his creation. Love of God means loving whole humanity without any reservations, without any prejudice, without any caste, creed, religion, country, color, race. Love whole God's creation. That is only the way to love God. That is the only way. So then there are 4 types of waking or sleeping states of our soul that Vedas describe. So the first is waking life, which we are all familiar with. And the second condition is the dream life, that is sleep. And the third condition, this is the essence of the Vedas in one of the main Upanishads. And the third condition of the soul is it's a deep sleep when we lose track of who we are. Sometimes we sleep in a way we don't know where we are, who we are. We just sleep like a log, they say, very deep sleep. And the fourth one is the most important sleep. The fourth condition is Atma in his own pure state. That is what we have to realize. In our pure state, to become the soul that God has created in supreme consciousness. We cannot be absolutely sinless, but we have to try to be full of divine qualities that God wants us to have, and to pray and to all the time meditate on Him, all the time being lost in Him, and be at peace through His teachings. I know a lot of questions would have come to your mind. So, what is the lesson of the Gita and the Vedas? It is submission to the will of God, but show it in action. Not just, sitting for hours in meditation and just leaving the world, taking sannyas, go to Himalayas, sit there. That is not the way of the Gita or the Vedas. They tell us, live in the world, and as I said, be the karma yogi. Have the right knowledge, have the knowledge of having the right action. And when you do these two, means you follow the scriptures. Then the third type of yoga comes, and that is the yoga of devotion. Yoga of knowledge, yoga of karma, and yoga of devotion. Then you become a lover of God. So your heart is not in another's possession, as it is written here in the Bhagavad Gita. Your heart is the temple of God, and you will establish the Lord in your heart. And you will lead, you will do whatever you do according to the guidance in the scriptures, and you will not be attached to your actions. You will just leave the fruit of your actions in the hands of God. He is the only judge. He is the only one who is to decide what is right. So you actually become worry-free. You have acted according to His gospel, according to His teachings, and you have given it to the Lord. So that's all you can do, and then you will be happy. Now, interestingly, in Paris talks, Abdul Baha talks about Lord Krishna. And he says the message of Krishna is the message of love. And I told you, and the message was revealed in Mahabharata, the greatest war the humanity saw at that time. But Abdul Baha says that the message of Krishna is the message of love. All God's prophets have brought the message of love. And the reference is here. So, he tried his utmost, Lord Krishna, to bring peace through non-violent means. And even, you see how much love he had for even Kauravas, those who were the other party. He was close to Pandavas because of they were righteous. But those who were unrighteous, even then, he did not want to destroy. He did not want to hurt anyone because he loved the whole creation. It was just that they did not listen. They turned his back on him. And then this thing came about, not because Lord Krishna did it. It was their own actions. But he did not participate in war. He was only the chariot driver. He never took up weapon in the whole war. So that is how we say his message was the message of love and relating to peace. So, here are some, quickly we can have a look and then we go to the message of house. Love must be reflected through actions. I think, to me, the message of the Universal House of Justice that we are going to now refer to, it leads to action arising out of love for all humanity. All humanity. And it is so beautifully laid out, this message of the Universal House of Justice. So, We have to love God, not love pleasure and power. Not love pleasure and power. And if we sacrifice our ego, our lower qualities, lower nature for the sake of God, then he says, God will then love you. Then God will love you and you will create harmony and good. And he says that I am telling you this gospel to Arjuna because you are my devotee, because you love me and also I am your friend. And he says, in any way that men love Lord, any way that people love God, in the same way he comes to them. He gives them reward. Reward comes from that creator. You may follow whatever path you want to. Ultimate reward will come from Lord Krishna, Baha'u'llah, Christ, Muhammad, and they represent the creator. So he says, because sannyasi means renunciate, is also yogi of holy work, and no man can be yogi who surrenders not his earthly will. So the main thing is, don't be attached to the material world. Live in the material world. Enjoy everything that is in the material world, but don't be attached to this world. So you will find peace, and if you have peace, you will realize God. And you will not feel pleasure or pain in glory or disgrace because you are with God. And then love leads to oneness. In red, oneness of love. What is love? Love is union. Love is oneness. And a devotee sees God in whatever he sees. He sees that whole creation is God's, and so he tries to protect. And then he talks about ever-living love. What is that ever-living love? Don't forget God even for 1 second. And realize that God is omniscient, omnipresent, always with us. And he says, if you love me, my love also will be same for you. That also will be. So, and you have to worship me, God, in adoration of love. Because you love God, you worship him. Not that, you go to a temple or you go to any holy place and you say, God, give me this. God may give me pass marks. God, let my presentation be good. Oh God, give me a big car, 10 beautiful wives. It is not that. He says, what you have to do? You have to love God, the creator, and therefore you worship him. Worship is deeds in action. Deeds in action. Do the deeds that God tells you, and that is your worship. And he says, God can only be known by love. Only by love can men see me. Men is a generic term used for women and men both. That is English. Unfortunately, the translations that I'm using, they don't use human beings. It's men for men and women. So it's not a sexist language, but that is how it is at the moment. He who works for me, who loves me. So if you want to show your love to God, you have to follow his teachings. This is the third highlight is surrender in love. That is very, very important. Don't bring your own ego or your own will to stop you from doing what God tells. It is very difficult at times. We just had 19 days of fasting and people say, oh, you did not have even a single drop of water in 19 days from morning to how did you survive? Well, I'm alive and kicking. I'm full of energy. I'm in front of you. Nothing happened to me. But there is a, kind of curtain in our mind, which sometimes stops us from owing or surrendering to God. So God loves them who love God. That is what, and also, who has no hatred, whose love for enemies and friends is same. that is what we have read in the quotations today also. And so the best people are those who have faith and love. And perhaps that is why Baha'i is known as a faith, not in that sense of religion. Anyway, so I think we will skip this now because I am also conscious of time and we have to go ahead. But these are all the quotations on love of God and what does love mean for God. And I can share this presentation with Siva and he can share with you. Okay. So let us see what Baha'u'llah, the glory of God, and the reincarnation of Lord Krishna says. O Son of Man, I love thy creation, hence I created thee. Wherefore do thou love me, that I may name thy name and fill thy soul with the spirit of life. So beautiful. If thou lovest me not, my love can in no wise reach thee. Know this, O servant. Then Baha'u'llah says, O son of being, thy paradise is my love. If you want to be in heaven, as we discussed from Lord Krishna, if you want peace in your life, it won't come through 20 cars and 10 big houses and, going to a party every night or going to a big restaurant and eating out and doing this and that. Okay, we are human. These things also give us some pleasure. But the joy will come by surrendering to God and loving Him. And Baha'u'llah says beautifully, what is the purpose of life? The purpose for which mortal men have from utter nothingness stepped into the realm of being is that they may work for the betterment of the world and live together in concord and harmony. So this is the main purpose. And now, House of Justice also tells us that it's not only Baha'is who are working for the betterment of the world. There are many others who are working and we have to collaborate with them and we have to appreciate them and we have to participate in their, programs through discourses and through social action. Okay, let's come to the 30th December message of the, how much time I have? 5 minutes more? 10 minutes? Siva? I can't hear you.
Yeah, you can take 10 minutes. Okay.
Okay. So let us focus on this now. So, we know that the purpose of life is to love God and to worship Him. And worship is doing actions. So, we have discussed this. The first point, which House of Justice highlights in their letter of the 30th December, it says, Baha'is are learning to apply Baha'u'llah's teachings, the sovereign remedy for every disease, to the needs of their society. So, Baha'is are not very big in numbers, although we are the second most global faith in the world. It's not that, we have millions and billions of Baha'is, but we are few and we are learning. We are in the learning mode. We apply the teachings of the Lord in our lives, in the society around us, and we are trying to find out how we can, bring up a better world, a better society. Baha'is are committed to the prosperity of all, recognizing that the welfare of individuals rests in the welfare of society at large. So that is the purpose of the New World Order. That is the meaning of establishing righteousness. And I want to tell you how fragile human beings are. Lord Krishna, after this war, went to Dwarka, which is in Gujarat, which our Prime Minister just visited. And it is said he ruled Dwarka for 36 years. He was the king of Dwarka. He was a Dwarkadhish. Imagine the avatar himself was the chief of Dwarka, of that city, which he established, through the grace of gods. It's a mythology. But anyway, but in 36 years of his rule, he found most of the people had gone astray. And he calls Arjuna from Kurukshetra. He says, Arjuna, come. So Arjuna went there. It's very far. The distance is very far. How and they could go, it's another thing. But he tells Arjuna, he says, there are few people who are still saintly. Take them to Kurukshetra. He says, otherwise there will be great destruction. This city will be submerged in water. And all those who are not righteousness, they will also, drown in the water of the sea. And that is what happened, actually. That is the history. But even then they say, some people still remained who did not follow the Lord and who went on with their own ideas of, whatever life is and how to be rich and famous and powerful and all that. All right. So House tells us that we should think about the welfare of the whole society, because that is how even individual would have peace and welfare. So they are loyal citizens. Baha'is are loyal citizens who eschew partnership and the contest for worldly power. Instead, they are focused on transcending differences, harmonizing perspectives, and promoting the use of consultation for making decisions. One of the greatest decisions to me, I have been, the vice presidents of the Punjab and College Teachers Union, large union with 4,000 professors. Also, I've been on the national level as a teacher activist, and even now I'm an advisor to the National English Language Teachers Association of India. I see this power games, this, contest for worldly power like nowhere in this country. And it must be same in the world. But Baha'u'llah has taken away this power from the leaders, one person. You hear, big names in all the countries at the moment, so-and-so leader, so-and-so leader, so-and-so. They don't talk about government. The programs are given by leaders, guarantees given by leaders, and the threats are given by the leaders. Baha'u'llah says, no, the power is invested in the institutions. No one person decides. It's the body that decides and that sends out the decision. And the body, you can ask them to appeal them to reconsider the decision. You can, so even at the highest level, at the world level, we have the elected body, as Siva was saying, which is known as the Universal House of Justice, consisting of 9 members elected by the members of all the national assemblies in the world, which are about 200. So all the members of the National Assembly elect the Universal House of Justice after 5 years. And they are very close to the shrines. They are very close to the holy writings. Their decisions are based and inspired by holy writings. And they're protected by God. So they also consult. No one member decides there. They don't write. If they send out a letter, nobody signs it. It's written the Universal House of Justice. I think this is a beautiful thing, that Baha'u'llah has taken power from individuals like kings and all, how much world suffered because of that. But he has given it to the institutions. Then Baha'is emphasize qualities and attitudes such as trustworthiness. I don't know how many of your friends you can trust. How many of your family you can trust? How many would cooperate with you? Cooperation and forbearance. How many would be patient? In fact, yesterday we had Navroz celebrations in Chandigarh. There were 400 over people, families, mothers, fathers, children, all were there. And beautiful devotionals, little short talks. Our chief guest showed us an example who was the head of the English department of Punjab University, chairperson. She came at 5:30. I had told her to come at 6:30, but she was a chief guest. And she said, Anil, I thought I should be there. And I said, Pushpinder, I told you to be at 6:30. Why have you come here? Well, what will you do? Because people come after jobs by 6:30, 7. She sat in so much happiness and at peace. And till the end, she had dinner. We had dinner for all. She was with us. She gave her message that do a kind act every day. Show your love to everyone every day. So do this only. One thing she only said again and again. Do some good deed every day. whatever you can do. Don't need to be big person. Just do small deed every day, good deed. And she was really a lesson to me in patience and humility and simple talk, not big things, you know. So these are the building blocks for a stable social order: trustworthiness, cooperation, and forbearance. They champion rationality and science as essential for human progress. Both science and religion have to be in accordance with reason. You must have seen that film, you know, by the inventor of the atomic bomb. I forget his name every time, German name. Because they misuse science, their discovery. And Einstein said, we have enough to destroy humanity over and over. The earth can be completely annihilated. So if we are not rational and don't use science, we cannot have a stable social order. Baha'is champion rationality and science. They advocate tolerance and understanding, and with the inherent oneness of humanity uppermost in their minds, they view everyone as a potential partner to collaborate with. See, we should not forget this. Never say we do this and we know this, and no. Everybody's doing, you're also one of them. Be with them. Strive to foster fellow feeling even among groups who may traditionally have been hostile to one another. We have no party. We are the party of God. So we don't favor this or that. In our talk also, I would tell you a secret. I should not say it here, but I will tell you, and my presentation will end in another 4 or 5 minutes. You know, we have so much political discussion in India, and we are never at peace, and our governments never function like everywhere else, maybe. Maybe Australia is different. But well, my friends say, you don't comment on these things. Who is being elected? What is happening? I said, to me, all of them are one. There is no party, actually. They are all self-seekers. They want to be leaders. They want to have power. They want to have money. They are not, you know, one party or the other. They are all one party, which is to use everyone for their own interests. And they're quite happy with that answer. Now they don't ask me which party you favor, this or that. They understand that I will say same thing. So yes, you know, it is very difficult, as we saw in Gita, that even kings, even the people at the top, they do not recognize the manifestation of God. They do not follow the message of God. Instead, they focus on murdering, killing, looting, cheating, destroying the world. All this wealth that God has given us, the hands of few people, and they make these atom bombs, nuclear bombs, and create wars, terrible wars. And everybody is at risk, and everybody is worried. So Baha'is are not a part of the materialistic world around them, and they know about injustices that are in the world, and they are quite clear sighted about the creative power of unity and humanity's capacity for altruism. Yes, you can say Baha'is have a vision, whether it would be, will ever come true or not, but we believe that humanity, if everybody strives to create unity, which would lead to peace and prosperity, it can be done. They see the power that true religion possesses to transform hearts and overcome distress. And so, with confidence in what future holds, they labor to cultivate the conditions in which progress can occur. We create those conditions by having dialogue, discourse. They share their beliefs liberally with others, remain respectful of the freedom of conscience of every soul. Ultimately, we don't pressurize anyone. It is their own choice, their own free will. We only tell them this is what we have found and offer them as a precious jewel. It's up to every soul how they would take it. And never impose their own standards on anyone. And while they would not pretend to have discovered all the answers, they are clear about what they have learned and what they still need to learn. Their efforts advance to the alternating rhythm of action, and this is very important. We had this celebration yesterday. What went well, what did not go well. Local body will reflect and hopefully try to improve next time. Setbacks, leave them unfazed. We do not feel, if we fail in our attempts, we do not feel bad, or we don't feel discouraged, because we have given it to the Lord. We have offered our efforts, our deeds to the Lord. So he knows whatever we could do, we have done, and we are not bothered about the outcome so much. In places where growing numbers are helping to build communities of this character, the power of the cause to transform people's social existence as well as their inner lives is becoming increasingly visible. So it is both inner and outer life. By social economic development projects, social action that Baha'is are doing now, earnest pursuit of the plan's central aim will, House of Justice says, they are sure cause many, many such communities to emerge. So we are seeing some nuclei, some small communities following these patterns and the successes they have achieved. So thank you very much, friends. But as Baha'u'llah says in the Gita, his message, he has clothed it in the garment of brevity, Baha'u'llah says, as a token of grace unto the righteous, that they may stand faithful unto the covenant of God, may fulfill in their lives his trust, and the realm of spirit obtain the gem of divine virtue. What a destiny Baha'u'llah is assuring for those who follow the avatar for this age. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. I've spoken a lot. I'm a professor, cannot speak less. Once again, sorry for the long talk, but thank you for your very patient listening. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I don't think that we have got the summary of Gita in such short talk. And yes, and also you have linked the messages of Gita and Vedas with the messages, the universal laws of justice. That again, I don't think we ever did it. Anyway, we can now allow the friends to have questions or comments. Young, you have to unmute.
Thank you very much for your talk. Very inspirational and very important. You mentioned a lot about science and religion. At the moment, we as international communities and national communities are facing the problem of chemical everywhere. You can see in the agricultural area, people use chemical, in the house, chemical, in the city, chemicals, in the sea, chemicals. So even all the fishes, marine animals, they all, polluted with chemicals. So that's why called disease, called cancer, called a lot of things. And the Baha'i teaching just try to help people to understand and just say, champion rationality and science is essential for human progress. Now, with the climate change, the fire can break out any time, and flood and everything, so we still have to conquer nature. According to Buddha teaching and stories, actually Buddha can control nature, like storms, like lightning. In the story for the children, if a place got blasted by lightning, thunderstorm, and flood and fire, Buddha will send the angels go and control the place, send a dragon go and get the place, out of trouble. So the dragons play a very important role in children's story of Buddha teaching. So nature is not God. Buddha control nature. As long as you believe in Buddha teaching. So there's something that I mentioned about, like, as you say, people doesn't like materialistic things. But if we are too poor, we cannot help the poor. The poor come to us because they need food, they need water, they need this and that. And if people are getting too poor and so spiritual, they won't help anyone. They can't, because they have nothing to help. Like the refugee turned up and said, I want 200 blankets. So if they travel by boat and they freeze and they want 200 blankets, and we say, oh, we materialistic, we don't like it. So how are we going to help them? You see, they got a list of demands or requests that we need to fulfill materialistic way. So I just want to push, from experience that I see, because I used to stand in front of like 300 refugees turn up to Australia by boat. And we need to collect the list. We need to provide them with needs. So materialistic play a very important role in spiritual development. Plus, you do the translation for all the Bible's paragraph. So you can talk to them and console them and communicate with them. Because they got nothing, you see. So I mean, talk about love. I like the idea of love, but love in action. We say we love in action, but when people ask for help, if you are to focus on spiritual needs, and even so in real life, I saw some people, they don't appreciate their life either. They just so suffering, torture themselves, crying, depressed, and not mental illness. They just depressed and they just sad, and they don't appreciate that God gives them life. So that's part of another spectrum of society, of human problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anything that you want to comment for Jung's comments?
Anyone can say, but basically I totally agree with what she has said, and I appreciate that she brought to our attention these important points. You see, for us, we see attributes of God in nature. That's what Baha'u'llah says, and he glorifies nature. So we cannot destroy nature. And as you said about chemicals and all, I am a student of literature and language. I do not much know, but yes, our food is polluted, it's all contaminated. We are giving rise to so many diseases because we are working for profit. In India, there is a recent report. One of the big companies which makes medicines, medicines for heart, for example, they are so corrupt. Their medicines are not effective. They have bribed, some people, and they have sold these medicines for billions of dollars. And everybody is hand in glove. So you're talking about chemical in the food, but look at this, the heart-saving, life-saving medicines, they are being manipulated, created like that and used like that, prescribed like that. So anyway, so yes, we have to start thinking of nature as sacred, and we have to, go back to certain ways of farming, producing things which will be chemical free. Our life should become very truly, and I don't know, as I said, we should have discourses and action, both. Now, the second point is about materialism and spirituality. I think they go hand in hand. Because if you love your human beings, you cannot see a human being suffering in the cold. Not even Baha'is, anyone who has little love for their fellow beings. People I have seen, they go and even Abdul Baha, the master of the Baha'i faith, is said to have taken his new coat that his wife had prepared for him to go to America and gave it to a person who was shivering in that cold, gave him that coat. And he took his old coat, which his wife prepared to America. So anyone who has love for his fellow men. So spirituality will solve economic problems. That's what I have seen. And I believe people will give, not because of law, because there's genuine concern. There's big corporations who are controlling the world. Their vision would completely change if they follow the message of the manifestation of God and love. I am reminded of Chomsky. Noam Chomsky is one of the greatest intellectuals alive in the world. You can look at him. He has done world order studies now. He was a linguist, basically. He says that there is mind control by the MNCs in the world. The mind of people is being controlled through social media, advertising, and we follow the agenda of the multinationals. That's what his theory is. Manufacturing consent is his video on the YouTube. You can see his books are there. And really, we are a victim of this. So we can break it free if we realize our truth. See, it is not me or you. It is everyone collectively has to understand this. And we few people, if we start practicing, they see in our simple life how we live and how we help. They will be inspired. Maybe that is my hope. So love, religion, spirituality, they can, I think, affect even the economic order of the world for better. As I said, if there is peace, we will have, if there is unity first, then we will have peace and then we will have prosperity. Sorry to take your time. There is a beautiful document written by the House of Justice known as the Prosperity of Humankind. And I would ask Siva maybe send you a copy. And it's a little lengthy document, but a lot of these intricacies that you have raised. But your concerns are valid, Jung, and I am very, very thankful to you. And I'm not pushing a perspective, but this is what he said, Siva said I should say something. So sorry, but very valuable inputs. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you. Your student, you know, my I ask your student here to study old English at all? If they want to be
Yes.
an English teacher, so they gotta do modern English and the old English, and they gotta do American literature and English literature and history. Because I had to go through all these one,
Mm,
you know,
great.
to be qualified. So it was a long study.
Wonderful. Yeah,
Thank
one of my sons might be in Sydney soon. He is an engineer and he is due to fly to Sydney on the 20th of April. The company has hired him, a computer company has hired him to go and work there. The other son is a doctor who is also an Australian now. He's got a work permit. He's an endodontist. He's expert of root canals and all. He is in Papua New Guinea at the moment, but eventually he would also, when Papua New Guinea has no endodontist. So there's a Baha'i clinic there and they needed an endodontist. And my son, Aaron, he has served there for a number of years now, but he will also be in Australia, hopefully. With maybe if you are in Australia, I don't know, because internet, you can't know who is from where. Maybe some of you will meet him. Thank you.
Thank you.
Most of them are from Australia. I think Pina is from Malaysia.
Hi, Peter.
You must have known Pina before, right?
Yes, I met Professor Sarwal before.
Yes.
I'm from the Philippines, actually.
Yes. Okay. Yes, we have met. Yeah.
So in the message that you shared from the House, Universal House of Justice, it says that they see the power that true religion possesses to transform hearts and overcome distrust. So with confidence in what the future holds, they labor to cultivate the conditions in which progress can occur. So I have a question that will say is that they see the power that true religion possesses. Everyone who believes in a religion, whether it is Hinduism or Christianity or Islam, they believe that their religion is a true religion. So do you think that believing in that religion can transform the society?
It's a very complex question. So I think at the individual level, I mean, if you look at the basic teachings of Christianity or Islam or Hinduism, Judaism, they all propagate, Islam means peace actually. They all propagate peace and they all say that you must connect to God, which means acquire more and more spiritual qualities. Don't become like an animal, because human beings left to themselves, they may have a label. As we saw in the case of Lord Krishna, the Vedas were prominent. They had the label, they were Vedantic. But what were their actions like? Worse than the animals, which led to the destruction of the whole civilization of that time. So you see, it's not the label, what House is referring or what Baha'u'llah refers to when he says religion is the main tool for unity, love, and peace, is the basic teachings which make you humble, which make you loving, which make you kind. So this is at one level. At the other level, there is no finality of any book. This is a very important concept. Sri Aurobindo, one of the great scholars of India, who was a freedom fighter, turned into a guru and a universal guru now. He said he had brought supramental consciousness on earth, which would transform the earth completely. I was reading his book, his preface to the book on Gita, his book on Gita, Essays on Gita, that's the book. He says that we should understand in the first chapter itself that no book is final.
Wow.
So till you do not understand the progressive nature of revelation, it is difficult, because then you will be stuck with one book, the other one with another book, another one with the third book. And this would never end. This would lead to a lot of destruction and fighting and blaming each other. And so, so it is rather difficult for people to accept this concept of progressive revelation. But the Baha'is, we respect all. I can show you just now. In front of me is a book holder, is a book rack. It has all the holy scriptures together. And I work and sleep in this room. Never see them fighting. Bhagavad Gita is next to Quran, next to Bible, next to Vedas. They never fight. And whichever book I pick up, they give me this beautiful, consolation, peace, unity. So religion is truly, and if Baha'u'llah says, if a religion, God forbid, Abdul Baha says, if it becomes a cause of disunity and discord, it is better to give it up, such religion, which becomes a cause of disunity and discord, and to give up such a religion, he says, will be a truly religious act. So we have to understand what is the context of their statement. It is that kind of religion that would promote oneness, love, unity, peace, and order in the world based on justice and equality.
Pina, you have a question, but you mentioned about Sri Aurobindo, and also you said that he says that the first chapter of Gita itself says that the revelation is endless. This will continue. Is that right?
That's right. He says in the first chapter of his book, that is Essays on Gita, he talks about that all the revelations are relative, and nothing, not any book should not be taken to be the final book.
Okay, yes. This is
But
Aurobindo.
yes, Lord Krishna also in the very second chapter, he talks about the progressive revelation. Yeah.
And is
Says,
it
whenever there is decay of righteousness, O Arjuna, I descend myself in human form to establish the righteousness and to destroy the wicked.
Is it that Aurobindo, in his name, they started this Auroville that
Yes.
Okay.
With the mother.
Yes. Okay, Pina, your comments or question?
Yes, I just want to confirm or affirm that with analogy about if the commander is one, like my mind is controlling my whole members of my body. So if I'm combing my hair and my other hand is helping, the other hand don't say don't help, because they are all united. Because the commander is one, so if I walk, it follows with the other steps. The same thing when I'm working, when one is doing something, the other one is supporting, like that. Because the reason is there is only one commander, there is only one God, and all the teachings, like all the holy books that you mentioned, are all saying to become good, to do good things. And they do not contradict with each other, just like in the person. And even a small child, I have learned, 5-year-old child was able to teach something. Because when we came from a children's class, we stopped at the park. And then in the park, there is a girl, another 5-year-old girl in the swing. And this, our Baha'i girl went to approach and ask, "Are you a Baha'i?" And the girl said, "What is Baha'i?" And then our child said, "We just came back from the children's class. We are learning to be good. So Baha'i means to learn how to become good." Wow. I said, wow, a small child can teach, 5 years old.
Wow.
You see, when the heart is pure, we aim to be of service to others. And if everybody will increase until everybody will have the same good hearts, who is going to fight? And all the mothers will train their children not to fight but to love. Who is going to go and fight in the war? Nobody. Nobody wants to fight. So there will be peace. Thank you.
Thank you. I think when you said that we learn from children, I remember in the last meeting when we had one for the International Women's Day, Colin was saying that when he was teaching the children classes, I don't know whether he was jokingly or he said that, oh, the women thinks that they are equal, and then he just laughed. And then there was a 10-year-old girl. She stood up and turned away from Colin and facing the other side. "I'm not going to turn back unless you apologize." And Colin has to apologize. And he said that he learned lesson from children too. Yes, I'm sure everyone will have experiences where we learn from children. Jung, and then if there are any other comments or questions, please raise your hand. Otherwise, we can close because we are coming to close of 9 o'clock here. Yes, Jung.
Thank you very much. Usually when we talk about vision, we always have to go with vision and mission. Vision and mission always go together, especially when we enter to work with a large company like energy or water, all that infrastructure, the large companies. So that's one thing. The other thing that normally at the moment, you can see in the society through the radio, through the feedback and everywhere, people have different views on the same subject. They have, so many different views. Just like if the soldier said, "I want to go home, I don't want to fight. I want to go home with my wife and my children." But then the leader said, "No, we had to fight." So obviously the soldier will have to follow the leader, whether they like it or not. Right? So if you watch some contemporary documents on situation at the moment happen overseas, we can say people have so many different views on everything, like on COVID, long COVID, short COVID, all this. And then when they was said, okay, the leaders want to fight. Why? Because we want to have the land. But the soldiers said, no, we don't want anything. I want to go back home with my wife and my kids. So it's not like because you have one commando and then you have right hand and left hand help each other. No, it's not. It's not. At the moment, it's not. So what I'm saying is, if God see things happening now on earth, God will be very sad. And he will be, why all these people didn't listen to what I said? I sent so many prophets. Now they return to square one. They not listen to what God said and God wanted. And God will be very, very disappointed. But the thing that God gave us a choice. God not interfere. He said, I'm not interfere this time. Okay, just let how you go. You go together. So you join NATO, you expand NATO. right? We take a broad view here. So neither is a good thing. But God said, I'm not interfere with your business. But God will be very sad because he said, but they're not listening to my commands. The left hand doesn't know what the right hand do, and vice versa. And the young people had to follow the old people. Indoctrination. They have no way out of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes.
Does Marina want to say something? There is a hand. Oh no, it's okay. Yeah.
No. Thank you very much. Is there anyone else wants to say anything? If
You know,
not,
the only thing is that it is this spark of contradictory opinions. There is the spark that comes, that is the spark of truth. When there are contradictory opinions, then the spark of truth comes out of all that discussion. And that is what we are taught. Nobody's opinion is superior or inferior. And also the decisions keep on changing also, you know, according to situation, according the same thing they would discuss this today, they will discuss after 20 days, it will change. So coordination will take place, but it will take time, and we are learning. We are in the learning process. That is the important thing. If we all feel we are in the learning process, then it will be much sooner and much better.
yes.
Thank you.
And also, I mean, we always share this PowerPoint presentation. Again, this is a message from the Universal House of Justice on 25th of November 2020. Is part of our PowerPoint presentation. Whether through deeds or words, the merit of your every contribution to social well-being lies first in your resolute commitment to discover that precious point of unity where contrasting perspectives overlap and around which contending people can coexist. So, as you said, when they have different opinions, our duty, if we are trying to do something good for the society, our duty is to find the precious point of unity of these different opinions, and then collectively go with that, so that others who are in the opposite ends also can understand and accept and follow. So that's probably one of the reasons of this purpose of this interfaith dialogues, that all over the world there are many like-minded groups and organizations. They are trying to do the same thing. Okay. Colin, do you want to say anything? Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Thank you very much, Professor. I enjoyed that, and I'm always trying to learn something about Hinduism. I sort of collecting resources about each religion, and Hinduism is the one which I've got the least. But I have got the Bhagavad Gita, and I think it's a beautiful short volume, as you say, like the hidden words. And some chapters, like chapter 9, really struck me when I read it. It's really describing a manifestation of God, or what it's like when God reveals himself to earth. And both of those books, the hidden words and the Gita, sort of summarize the essence of religion. And yet with these short, if the essence of religion is so simple, and yet when it comes into the world, it transforms. As you said from the message, the inner life and outer life of humanity is all transformed by these teachings, as happened with Hinduism 2,500 years later. It's still the foundation of society and the inner life. And in the qualities of the people who are being recreated in our time through teachings of Baha'u'llah, one of them, it said, you read, promoting the use of consultation for making decisions. Now that sounds very simple, and people might think that's, so what? You know, everyone consults when they have to, but really, Baha'i consultation is something which has never been seen in the world, really, except maybe in the time of Abdul Baha said that Jesus' apostles, they knew how to consult. And that's what we're trying to practice now. It's not just talking. It starts with love, and it starts with a unity of hearts, and then there's detachment from our own ideas. I mean, it's a big thing. Who can do that easily? And then not ridiculing other people's ideas, no matter how silly they may sound. To respect everyone's ideas, and when a decision is made, if it wasn't what you wanted, you still give it 100% because it's come out of consultation. So this is just one tiny sentence from that message, and yet it's transformative, and we're already seeing it being practiced all over the world, where people are trying to put into practice the teachings of Baha'u'llah. I'm sorry I didn't have a question. I just was really enjoyed your talk and wanted to make that observation.
Thank you.
Yeah, on the consultation, I think there was an American journalist, Amanda Ripley. She wrote a book called High Conflict. I think it is High Conflict, yes, where she highlights the consultation the Baha'is do in the administration and making decisions, not dictatorial or authoritative or adversarial. And there was a short video where she was interviewed about the Baha'i consultation. So, I mean, in the presentation you made, yes, and the message, 30th of December message says that they are loyal citizens who eschew partisanship and the contest for worldly power. Instead, they are focused on transcending differences, harmonizing perspectives, and promote the use of consultation for making decisions. So we had to promote the use of consultation as much as possible, and the prerequisites for consultation, as Colin was saying, is given. It's not just talking or discussing. The purity of motive and love and humility and all this detachment, all these qualities have to be there. Anyway, thank you very much, and I really appreciate your presentation and giving your time to join us. I request that you can come whenever you can and contribute to the consultation and dialogue, though you are very busy in your local community and otherwise. Thank you all, and God bless you. We'll see you next time.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ave Maria.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.